Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Kai Zabo, and Dylan Peters.
What's up, you turkeys? Welcome to episode 119 of the Raging Takes podcast. Today is Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. I'm your host, Brian Dixon, joined as always by my co-hosts, Kai the Commissioner Zabo and Dylan Peters. Good morning.
Salutations.
Good morning to you as well.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Salutations to you as well, Kai. Thanks for filling in for me, boys, on Tuesday.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Had to do some shit. I'm back now and ready to digest, or I guess I don't know. Is digest the ingest? Yeah, ingest the week 9 preview. We also got saviors and stinkers on the show, and of course, we're going to talk about the Jets and the Texans Thursday night football game, and we're going to go ahead and start with that with the raging question of the day: are the Jets back? Yeah, we mailed that one in a little bit, but the Jets played a pretty good ball game the other night, dude. 21-13. They beat the 6-2 Houston Texans. The Texans now fall to 6-3. Obviously, the Jets are 3-6. And the big story out of this game was Garrett Wilson, who caught not one but 2 one-handed touchdown grabs.
Oh my God!
Yes, absolutely. One of them being, quite frankly, one of the coolest catches I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
But was it a catch?
It was really close, but you just
I think it was.
You got to give it to him. You just have to give it to him at that point,
dude. It was so cool. I even said in our group chat, I was like, I don't even care if that doesn't count because it was so fucking awesome. Like that was like I literally like screamed in my house as if he like was playing for my favorite team or something like that. You know, like I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe what I just saw.
I thought it was, I mean, I kind of have to agree with the ruling because it was called no catch on the field and they overturned it, which is like really hard to do in the NFL if you have a call on the field to reverse it if there's not clear and undisputable evidence, as they say. So I'm going to go with what they were seeing in New York. I just think every year we have one of these catches where it's kind of like we had the George Pickens thing and now we have this. It's kind of blurring the lines between what's a catch and not a catch. Again, this has happened several times since I've been a fan.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Was it better than the Odell catch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I mean, they're both really cool in their own regards, but I think just because the Garrett Wilson one is like so new in our minds, kind of just overtakes it for me.
I still think Odell's was better, but this one, I think this is the best catch I've seen since Odell.
Yeah. Well, actually, Odell's had that was a pass interference one too, right? And he still caught that.
Yeah, the Odell's.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty cool.
The only sorry, Dylan, the only other catch I can think of that comes to mind that I think could compete with it is Justin Jefferson had a really good one, either the last year or the year before in Buffalo. I don't know if you guys remember that catch. That one was fucking awesome too. That's the only other catch I could think of that could maybe overshadow it.
That was featured in the quarterback documentary, right?
I think so. So that means it was probably 2 years ago. Then.
Yeah. Then I know which one you're talking about.
So I guess we didn't even really answer the raging question of the day. Are the Jets back?
In the win column.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in this one yet.
Yeah, I'm not a believer myself. I think this is more about how the Texans had a bad game. You know, they're also missing their top 2 wide receivers coming into this game. And CJ Stroud tends to struggle in New Jersey. So I think it's more about the Texans being bad this game than the Jets actually being back.
I think it shows a lot about the Jets defense and what happens when they're applying pressure. I feel like they were a little bit more willing to send blitzers, and it really made CJ Stroud uncomfortable. I mean, they hit him so many times. He was sacked like 8 times. He was hit like 14 times, pressured so many times. It's just like they know he's not good under pressure, and they applied it to him. So if their defense can play like that to their strengths, I can see how the Jets would scratch and claw their way back. but they are still a couple games under 500. So I wouldn't call them back just yet.
I mean, you heard it here first. They're going 8-9. We played the schedule game last week. So, I mean, this is just the first step to 8-9.
That would mean that they went like 6-3 the rest of the season, I believe, right?
Yes, so and now it would be, 5-3 the rest of the season.
Yeah, so they're looking good. I mean, they
can go 5-3.
Yeah, I turned this game on. It was like 7-0 in the third quarter, and I was like, what a stinker this is. You know, maybe it was the second quarter, but
the first half was extremely bad. Like, I think it was 0-0 until like maybe like 4 minutes left. When the Texans finally scored, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a good game. There was just a lot of hubbub in this game with a lot of the stuff that happened. Like, there's a lot of big moments and such a stinker of a game that made it good.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams catches his first touchdown from Aaron Rodgers since 2021, his first as a Jet. He goes 7 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. So
it was a nice one too.
Yeah, it was very vintage. We got to talk about Malachi Corley pulling a Deshaun Jackson on the goal line. Why do players still do that? I'll never understand this. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Why are you so eager to drop the football?
Especially
just hold the fuck onto it for like an extra 30 seconds. Like, do not let that thing go.
It just happened last week too. Like,
it did.
Take note.
About it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it on Tuesday's pod, and it's like,
well, I'm saying from the player's perspective too. Like, you just saw it happen in the league. It's like, and even just down to the coaching, it's like, coach this up in your players. Like, don't drop the fucking ball at the goal line.
The thing is, an NFL coach, that should not be something you would ever have to say to a professional player. They're supposed to learn that from the ages of 5 and 18 years old. You have 13 years of football to play before you get to college, and you should understand that if you're crossing the goal line, cross it with the ball in your hand and toss it to the ref. It don't matter. The only thing that matters is if you throw the ball on the ground. That's basically what he did, was throw the ball on the ground right before he crossed the goal line. So you got to get your head out of your ass, dude.
That would have been his first career touchdown, I believe, as well.
He didn't deserve it.
You know what, though? I bet he'll never do that again.
Yeah.
If you do that on your first touchdown, I think you learned your lesson immediately. Like, okay, I can never fucking do that ever again. So I expect Malachi Corley to be a little bit more disciplined moving forward, I would say.
Did you guys see that TikTok I sent you where the guy, someone had bet like, I think it was like $15 or $20 on Malachi Corley getting the first touchdown of the game. And it was like 10,000 to 1 odds. And, yeah, he would have won like 2,500, I think. But it was just like, oh.
Holy shit. Yeah. I saw a lot of like stories on Twitter of people having Malachi Corley first touchdown. I saw, or like anytime touchdown. So yeah, I know the gamblers out there probably didn't love that one. So Rodgers only had 32 passing yards at halftime. He finished 22 of 32 for 211 and 3 touchdowns.
He was getting beat up a little bit too. I mean, the Texans D-line was applying pressure for sure.
And then Stroud, I mean, this is back-to-back games now against the Jets in New Jersey that he struggles. 11 for 30 for 191 yards in this game. Not great. He only has 1 touchdown the last 3 games combined and has been sacked 14 times in those 3 games. So I would assume that this just has something to do with maybe no Nico Collins and now obviously no Diggs.
I wanted to bring this up. So I kind of was thinking about this last night, but I almost think CJ Stroud might be in that same category as Jalen Hurts now, where it's like, they produce good quarterback play, but only if they have their wide receiver one. I think CJ Stroud might be one of those guys, he can't really succeed without Nico Collins in the lineup.
I mean, that's legitimately half of the league, maybe more, of quarterbacks that would struggle. Look at Matthew Stafford without Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Like, he wasn't doing very good. Look at Patrick Mahomes without
Mahomes,
Rashee Rice and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's every quarterback needs their wide receiver one. And what I see from the Texans is they haven't made any adjustments to their offense based off of the loss of their playmakers. They're still playing from top to bottom. They're looking deep before they, CJ Stroud needs to play more from the line of scrimmage up because he doesn't have Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. He's waiting for dudes to get open down the field that are just not getting open. And it's just too much time in the pocket.
Well, I do agree that every quarterback definitely needs their wide receiver one. I'm saying there are some quarterbacks out there who are better than others when they don't have them. And I don't think CJ Stroud has played very well at all since he's had... Like, he still had Diggs in the lineup for a while, too, and still wasn't really a good product. So, it's not like he didn't have weapons.
Yeah. True.
The good news is Nico Collins, I think, is going to be back next week. That's what it sounds like, at least. So it doesn't seem like he's going to have to worry about that too much longer. Nico and Tank Dell together should be, a decent enough wide receiver combo that CJ Stroud could probably start balling out again. Yeah. Joe Mixon, legitimately one of the best running backs in the league, dude. 24 for 106 and a touchdown. I mean, it's just automatic every single week, basically. If you give the guy 20 touches, he's going to fucking get at least 100 yards. He's probably going to score at least once. So, I mean, if you drafted Joe Mixon, you're probably feeling fantastic.
Yeah.
Right now.
Ironically, though, he only had one target this game, had no catches either. I mean, I think that might have been an issue with their game plan as well. I mean, CJ Stroud went 11 for 30. I guarantee you, if you help him out a little bit, get some dump off passes going to Mixon, this might have been a different game.
Yeah, for sure.
Tank Dell without Nico and Diggs went 6 for 126. So obviously a pretty good game against the tough Jets secondary.
A lot of those were on one catch, though, right? A lot of those were on that one 50-yard catch or so. I'm not mistaken.
Probably, but if it's 5 for 70 or something, is still pretty solid too. Though after that, so yeah, I thought Tank Dell played well, especially when the first half there was zero offense at all. I thought him finishing with 126 yards was pretty good. And then Alan Lazard placed on injured reserve prior to this game with a chest injury, so I don't really think they need him right now anyways, but
yeah, I think Tank Dell getting 6 for 126 is perfect because this is the week I decided I was going to not depend on him. Makes sense.
I looked at your lineup though. I feel like I would have done the same exact thing, play Cedric Tillman over him. I would have played Cedric Tillman over him, so I don't know.
I got to do something. I got to do something with it,
All right, let's get to saviors and stinkers. All right, my first one. Cade Otton, my first savior. Still no Mike Evans. Still no Chris Godwin. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Who do they play this week? They play the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Chiefs, not that good against the tight end, right? I don't think, at least. I think Cade Otton is, I don't know, he's been a huge part of the offense since Evans went down, since Godwin went down. I think it's going to keep going, honestly. I think Cade Otton is probably a top 12 tight end rest of the season without Godwin. The way Baker Mayfield's been throwing the ball, how many times he throws a ball a game. I think Cade Otton is going to do really well against the Chiefs this week. So give me Cade Otton.
All right. So for my first savior of the week, I am taking Patrick Mahomes against the Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers pass defense already pretty shredded with injuries. Antoine Winfield Jr. might not play in this game either. 29th ranked pass defense. Patrick Mahomes played his best game of the season so far last weekend. Still finished outside the top 15, but I think the progression is a good sign going forward. So I like Patrick Mahomes this week against the Bucs.
There's actually news that just came out 5 minutes before we started that Antoine Winfield's probably good to go from Todd Bowles.
Okay. But I mean, either way, they're still dealing with so many injuries.
Okay.
Yeah. I like both of those. I like the Cade Otton one because if the Bucs are going to move in the ball at all, it's going to be probably through him. So I could definitely see that going. My first savior of the day, it's a guy that's been out a couple weeks and his team's badly needed him to come back. Derek Carr. He's back with the Saints. I know his weapons are maybe not what they were when he was first injured, being Rashid Shaheed is down, but Chris Olave is healthy. We got Alvin Kamara is going to be probably part of that passing game big time. And they're playing the Panthers. And we've been saying, start anyone who plays against the Panthers. Fire up Derek Carr if you have any questions about your quarterback position right now. This is the perfect guy to take a gamble on.
I like that one.
I like that. Yeah, I like that too. My second savior, Bo Nix. Back-to-back Bows for me. I had Bo Nix last week too. I have Bo Nix again this week. He's playing the Ravens. We know the Ravens' pass defense gives up a lot of passing yards. Jameis Winston just torched them last week. I think Jameis is more of a gunslinger than Bo Nix is, but I still think Bo Nix is good enough that he can probably get at least 20 fantasy points against the Ravens defense. So I'm gonna fire up Bo Nix again.
I love that one.
Quietly, the number 10 quarterback in PPR leagues. Not that PPR matters in quarterbacks, but number 10 quarterback this year in fantasy.
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So for my second savior of the week, I am going with James Conner against the Chicago Bears. So as of right now, the Bears are allowing 4.7 yards per carry, and they're yielding explosive runs above the league average currently. Conner also has the highest amount of broken tackles in the NFL. I think he has like 47. The next highest guy has like 29. I think this is going to be a gritty matchup, and I think in gritty matchups you need to rely on a good running back like James Conner. So yeah, give me James Conner this week for a fiery start.
Great one.
Yeah, the Bears defense definitely showed a little weakness to the run last week, so I can respect that. My number 2 savior of the week is Tyler Algier. Okay, now the Cowboys defense is beaten up. That D-line is beaten up. That linebackers, they're beaten up all over the defense. And who's better to give the ball to than a guy can beat them up even worse? A big, beefy Tyler Algier. Low center of gravity, really hitting the middle of the line like that. It's going to soften up that defensive line. I could really see him probably having the best game he's had in a couple weeks. It's a great matchup. And I think you got to establish the run to be able to keep that ball out of the Cowboys' offense hands with CeeDee Lamb like that.
It's a good one. I like that.
It's spicy.
Mm-hmm. My third savior, Tyrone Tracy. He's coming back into the lineup. Daboll says he's going to play. He's taken over that starting job, in my opinion. Singletary played last week, and Tracy still had 20 carries. Washington's defense is just middle of the pack against the run. Last time the Giants played, Devin Singletary did a very good job against them. I think Tyrone Tracy's a better player personally, and I think that he'll probably have the same amount of production, about 90-ish yards and a touchdown against Washington. So I think Tyrone Tracy's a very good play this week.
Isn't he a little questionable right now, or have they cleared that up?
Daboll said he's going to play.
Okay. All right. For my last savior of the week, I'm going with Ladd McConkey against the Cleveland Browns. So the Browns' pass defense is pretty weak right now, and I found this stat. This is a nice little stat. So they're running man coverages at the 4th highest rate in the league right now, and Ladd McConkey is 5th in the NFL against man coverage. So give me the Ladd. I like the Ladd this week.
The Ladd, dude.
Too. The Ladd, bro. He's got that route running. Reminds me of a Hunter Renfrow style. The most recent route running we've seen like that.
Yeah, and he showed that he's the number 1 target right now in LA.
Did you hear that Jim Harbaugh said that he reminds him of Steve Smith?
I like that after I did.
I don't know. Steve Smith?
No, I said he looked like Steve Smith before Harbaugh even said that. I'm super smart, dude.
Oh, okay.
Are you willing to personally call him out on that?
No, I think he noticed, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. That's what I'm thinking the whole time.
Okay.
I'm a football guy. I like football guys. My third savior of the week is going to be TJ Hawkinson. I think he's coming into this offense at the perfect time with the Vikings. The Vikings are on like a 2-game slide. They might be looking for a little bit of a rejuvenation to that offense. And I think that will be with a huge playmaker at tight end. It's just another wrinkle to that pass game. Who are you going to cover? We don't know. And I think Hawkinson might be able to squeak this game out with a decent productivity for what you maybe be thinking. I project him to score a little bit higher than 9 points. I think he's a really good red zone threat as well. So it's going to be it's going to be a roll of the dice, but I do not believe in the Colts defense either. I don't think that they're a very good unit whatsoever. And maybe Sam Darnold can expose them a little bit.
Okay. That's a pretty good one.
I do kind of think the game could be a shootout too, with Joe Flacco playing too. So I do like that one.
Yeah, and it's at home. So it's at home for the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. It's going to be bright lights, and it's going to be a great game. I'll definitely be tuning into this whole entire game.
My first stinker, Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I know he's just coming off like one of his best games. I don't know, man. I don't like the matchup against the Bears. I mean, the Dolphins have a bad matchup too, but he caught a touchdown against Jalen Ramsey. But I don't know. There's something about the Bears that I just trust more than the Dolphins. Okay, I think that they're going to shut down Marvin Harrison Jr. And I still don't really think that his connection with Kyler is there yet. I don't know. Call me crazy. I just don't quite see it there yet. So I'm sitting Marvin Harrison Jr. this week. I don't. It is spicy, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to see that 23-point week and forget about the 5-point week that he had the week before. I don't trust him yet.
Okay. So for my first stinker of the week, I'm going with Nick Chubb. So already coming into this game in his first 2 games back, he's already averaging 2.7 yards per carry, and then he's going up against the Chargers, who are allowing the 6th fewest yards to running backs. Yeah, I just don't like the matchup too much. Until I see more, I just don't think this is a week you could play Nick Chubb.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He's definitely been playing though, so that's a good sign. I'm glad he's back. My first stinker of the week is going to be Geno Smith. I know they're at home, but he kind of showed what that offense is like without DK Metcalf. You don't have to necessarily protect the deep end of the field as much. You can play more towards the line of scrimmage more, play a lot tighter coverage underneath, and that leaves the decision making up to Geno Smith. And I don't think he's the best in the league with decision making necessarily. So I look for him to kind of leave a lot of points out on the field, especially with this Rams team that is back. Like they think that they can win this division, and that's a scary, scary team to be thinking that way right now.
Yeah, that's a good call. My second stinker, Deontay Johnson. His first game with the Ravens, gets the Broncos defense. And the Ravens defense, we've seen this all year from them. We're like Mark Andrews struggled at first. It's mainly a Derrick Henry offense, right? Mm-hmm. I just want to see it first. I want to see how the Ravens use him.
Last week it wasn't the Derrick Henry offense.
Yeah, that's true. But still, I want to see how the Ravens use Deontay before I fire him up. So I'm going to be sitting Deontay Johnson this week everywhere I have him.
Mm. So for my second stinker of the week, I'm going with Jordan Addison. So he has officially become a low-floor, touchdown-dependent player in this offense. And as Dylan just mentioned earlier, Hawkinson is coming back into this offense. I feel like Addison is going to get even more phased out. Additionally, too, in his 5 games that he's played this season, he's had 4 or fewer targets in 4 of those games. So, yeah, I do not like Addison this week.
Good call.
Yeah, it's not looking good for their wide receiver 2 out there.
Yeah.
My stinkers, my second set of stinkers, it's going to be the Bucs wide receivers. Don't know who to trust anyways, right? Necessarily. Like in fantasy, you're like, who do I pick? Who do I pick? And they're playing the Chiefs in Kansas City on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs are undefeated for a reason. They have a very, very, very good defense. So I'm not looking for any of the Bucs wide receivers to really make an impact at all in this game, fantasy-wise. And if one does, it's going to be too much of a gamble for me to try to make that decision when you have safer options. I could see that Rachaad White getting more, K. Doughton getting more looks, and maybe this game is based around the run more. I don't know their scheme either. Like, this is going to be a tough game for the Bucs to win in general.
Okay, my final stinker, Jalen Waddle. It's another vibes one, dude. He's going up against the Bills in Buffalo. The Dolphins always get their asses kicked against the Bills, it feels like. Mm-hmm. Waddle doesn't have double digits since week 1. Like, obviously, I know Tua hadn't played in most of those games, but he's just not having a good season. I think it's going to continue against the Bills. Like, obviously, if you have Tyreek Hill, you're starting him. If you have A-Chain, you're starting him. But I think if you have other options, you go ahead and sit Waddle on the bench, which you probably have been doing for a long time anyways.
So for my last stinker of the week, I'm going with Zach Ertz. So I know when we look at this matchup, you're like, okay, these teams score against each other pretty well. But the one thing that the Giants defense is known to be feisty for is defending against the tight end position. They allow the fourth fewest points per game against the position. So, yeah, I just don't think Zach Ertz is going to have a good matchup this week. I think it's going to run, the offense is going to run through Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My final stinker is going to be Jags running backs. I know Travis Etienne is a game time decision, but Tank Bigsby, I don't think he's a viable option either. It's in Philly. Their defense has really shown up for them to have success these last couple weeks. I think that their defense is the reason why they're winning. And with all the injuries that the Jags have, I think that offense is going to be very limited. So I wouldn't be starting any of the Jags running backs this week.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the Eagles defense is going to kind of just eat that offense alive, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good one, boys. Let's get to the Week 9 preview. First up, I'm so sorry that this is the first game. Saints 2-6, Panthers 1-7. Bryce Young will start even though Andy Dalton is healthy. I guess that means Bryce Young is just their quarterback again. Is that what that means?
Yeah,
I think that's what that means. Yeah, I guess. Is Dalton the backup or is he the emergency third? Like, I know he had that car accident a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I assume they're just going back to Bryce Young. Derek Carr's coming back for the Saints. Marshawn Lattimore is out with a hamstring injury. Bub Means, Kendre Miller both out. Kool-Aid McKinstry also out. And then we got Xavier Legette questionable with a toe injury and Adam Thielen doubtful.
Wow.
How are you guys feeling about this stinkfest, dude? The Saints are on a 6-game losing streak. Derek Carr is coming back. Will they beat the Panthers?
Man, this is just, it really is a stinker, though, because both these teams are just banged up beyond all repair right now. I mean, I still want to say that the Saints should win this game, right? I mean,
they should. But...
I mean, I was telling Dylan last week, I was like, man, if the Saints lose to the Panthers this week, they might be the worst team in the NFL. But
yeah, man, neither one of these teams has won at all. Like, they're both on, I'm serious, they're both on. Carolina's on a 5-game losing streak, and so are the Saints.
The Saints are on a 6-game losing streak.
So these teams have lost 11 games combined in the last 5 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
Crazy.
And
something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Something's got to give, right? And Marshawn Lattimore being out is very important, but you also have to remember there's so many injuries for the Panthers at receiver.
Yeah.
What's going to give, actually? Is this going to be the first 0-0 tie in NFL history? No.
Jalen Coker is a popular name on waiver wires this week. I don't know. People have been talking him up. I haven't really seen him play. I didn't watch much of the Panthers last week. I don't know. Maybe he can have some success moving the ball down the field. I don't know. Bryce Young still scares me as quarterback. I honestly think the Saints are going to win. I know I was fiddling with picking the Panthers as a bit, even though I said I'd never pick the Panthers again. And the Panthers will definitely win now that I'm not going to pick them, but I'm going to pick the Saints personally. Just if Derek Carr wasn't playing, I would pick Carolina, but Derek Carr is playing, so I think the Saints are going to have enough talent on the team that they will score more points than Carolina.
Man.
You know what? I was going to say, oh, man, the Saints, their defense is a little bit of a redeeming quality to their team. At least their defense can keep them in games. And then I realized they've allowed 170 points over this 6-game losing streak.
Well, also, they got no Kool-Aid. They got no Lattimore. I think Tyrann Mathieu's battling an injury. I think he's going to play, but I think he's slightly banged up too. So
dude,
it's
you know what? I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it too, Kai.
I'm gonna do the Panthers.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna pick the Panthers as well.
I'm also
they're at home.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm also going to say Dennis Allen gets fired after this game.
You think Dennis Allen gets fired? Okay.
Post-game?
If you lose to the Panthers.
Yeah, but the Saints stink equally as bad. I hate to say it, but
no,
the Saints
I know they.
do stink,
I know,
brother.
Yeah.
This will be a shootout, right? Because both of these defenses stink. This will be a game with a lot of points scored. Give me the Panthers to win it, dude, and screw up their chances of getting the number 1 overall pick. Give it to me. The Panthers stink as a franchise.
Okay, you guys are doing the bit for me now. You guys are picking the Panthers.
Just this once.
Obviously, they're going to win now. They're definitely going to win now. The football gods will laugh at me for that one. But all right, I'm on New Orleans. You guys are on Carolina. Commanders 6-2 at Giants 2-6. Tyrone Tracy cleared concussion protocol. He will play. Giants are without their starting kicker and punter in this game, which, remember, the last time they played Washington, they had a kicker injury and they couldn't kick field goals. So partly the reason why they lost, they had to go for 2-point conversions and they weren't getting them. Mm-hmm. And then the Commanders didn't even score a touchdown and they won. They kicked a bunch of field goals. Brian Robinson Jr. will be a game time decision for the Commanders. So last time these guys played, I came with you a bunch of stats that Daniel Jones really plays well against the Commanders. I mean, I still believe that. I still think he's going to have a decent game. I think Malik Neighbors is going to have a really good game in this game, much like the first matchup. But I'm going Commanders. They're just the better team. The Giants are a shit show right now. I do think Tyrone Tracy's a really good play, and I think Malik Neighbors is obviously a great play. If you have Neighbors, I mean, he's probably in your lineup every week, no matter what. If Brian Robinson plays, I think he's a good play this week as well. You're obviously playing Jaden Daniels. Give me the Commanders. I don't think it's going to be close either. I think the Commanders blow out the Giants.
I'm not going to say a blowout, but I am taking the chalk pick here with the Commanders. I mean, I kind of think this is a good game for most of the skill position players on both teams, you know. These guys have shown that they can score against each other. I do agree with you. I think Malik Neighbors is going to feast. Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin, maybe even like Slayton too, honestly. Could be a sneaky flex. But yeah, I just think the Commanders top to bottom, you know, just overall the better team. They're on fire right now. They have all the momentum. Yeah.
Give me the strength of the Commanders defense over the weakness of the Giants offense and that's the interior of that offensive line for the Giants is so bad. It's so terrible. They don't really have any, like they have talent, I guess, you know, on offense, but that offensive line really ties them down. Makes their offense hard to function. And from what I saw from the Commanders against the Bears is that the Commanders D-line is good. I don't care what anybody says. They are good and they can expose an inexperienced, borderline, terrible offensive line, which I think they will. Give me the Commanders to win. And I don't think the Giants score more than 14 points at all.
I'm with you. Yeah, I think let's give Tracy a touchdown, and we'll give like one of the receivers a touchdown. Like I think Neighbors has a big game whether he scores or not. Just give one of the receivers a touchdown, and then give Tyrone Tracy a touchdown. I think the Commanders probably score like 28-30.
Yeah. I think they'll go. I think this game will be like a 27-7 game going into the fourth quarter. I don't think the Giants have any chance to win this game at all. They're gonna get Daniel Jones might get absolutely killed on the field this week.
It is in New Jersey, though, right?
Yes.
I think the first game was in Washington, so maybe that helps them a little bit. But yeah, I'm still with you. So we're all on Washington. Next up, Miami 2-5 at Buffalo 6-2. Amari Cooper and Curtis Samuel are both game time decisions. This is a big game for Miami because now they have their team back together. They want to make a run towards the playoffs, I'm sure, kind of redeem themselves because they've looked like absolute ass during the entire first part of the season. But Buffalo, like I said before, they always kick their asses, and it's in Buffalo. Man, I don't see how the Dolphins win this one of all games. You know, like they just never play well against the Bills, and now you're doing this like 2 weeks after Tua comes back. I don't know. I'm taking the Bills, man. I just don't see the Dolphins winning this game. Part of me hopes that they do, because I would like the Dolphins to come back and be like a threat here and like try to make at least a playoff, like a run at the playoffs, even if they don't make it. It's just the league's more fun when the Dolphins are doing good. This iteration of the Dolphins, at the least. But I don't see it this week. I think Buffalo's got this.
Yeah, while I do think the Dolphins could make this kind of a competitive game, I still think the chips are pretty stacked against them, especially in Buffalo. So I think just picking Buffalo is just a smart choice here. But I look forward to seeing some of the Dolphins skill players show out, like, keep Achane going in the run game, keep him going in the pass game too, try to get Tyreek Hill involved, I think that's going to be the Dolphins' best chance. I mean, I know their defense got starched for the first time this season last week. They're going to have their hands full with this one, so.
I mean, their defense has gotten starched a couple times.
Yeah.
A couple times.
I mean, just until last week, though. I mean, they were the number one passing defense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. And I think that if Amari Cooper and Curtis Samuel play and they're on the field, that means the Dolphins are at full force. And, I mean, they have two good running backs that could eat you up at any time. They're not going to be forced into this is not going to be a game where Josh Allen goes, I have to beat the Dolphins on my own. That's not the Bills anymore.
Yeah.
The Dolphins don't have the talent on defense to actually keep the Bills out of the end zone. I don't believe. They can score from any point in the field. They have playmakers at every position, including quarterback. So I don't think this will be close. I know it's like a divisional game. They're supposed to be close, but in Buffalo, Bills are 6-2. Man, it's going to be hard to play in that game for sure for the Dolphins. It's going to be a raucous crowd. Give me the Bills to win. Pretty big thing.
Guys, can we play the schedule game for the Dolphins?
Sure.
I'm already looking at their schedule right here. I'm on top of it, dude.
So we got the Bills winning this week, so they're 2-6, okay? Rams in LA.
Loss.
That's a loss, right? 2-7.
Yeah.
Raiders, easy win. 3-7. Yeah. Patriots, probably a win in Miami.
Yeah, because they already. I mean, they look like a different team, New England, than whenever they did earlier in the season.
That's fair. We'll give them in the Miami game though, so it's 4-7.
Oh yeah.
In Green Bay,
loss. On
4-8.
On
Thanksgiving at night. Yeah, that's a loss. 4-8. Jets, Dolphins in Miami. What did we say this game was going to be for the Jets?
I don't remember, but
I think the Jets win. I think the Jets win that.
Okay, so what's the record? What did I say? 4-8. It's another 4-9. Dolphins, Texans. Loss, right?
Well,
in Houston.
I don't know, dude.
I'm gonna say loss.
Or are we gonna give them this one?
No, I think that this is a game that they have a chance to win.
All right, I'll say they win too, just to give them another win.
Yeah.
5-9. 49ers in Miami.
I think they lose that game.
Yeah, it should be a loss. Yeah.
5-10. The Browns in Cleveland. I'll give them this one. I think. Lose. Oh, okay, Kai. What do you think?
In Cleveland.
In Cleveland.
I'm gonna say loss.
Okay, 5-11 then.
Jesus.
Dolphins, Jets in New Jersey.
I think the Jets sweep them.
I
can't remember what we said last week for the Jets for these two games.
Both of these teams will be out of playoff contention. I think
we might be contradicting ourselves here, but
who cares? It's a game. But I could see the Jets winning that game.
All right, we're giving 5-11 for the Dolphins.
5-12.
5-12 for the Dolphins. You're right. 5-12 for the Dolphins.
I mean,
hey, I did have them missing the playoffs in our preseason predictions, so I'm fine with that. I don't think the Dolphins would have made it anyways.
Stay tuned next week when we go over the Patriots, and then the following week when we go over the Bills in the schedule game. We're just going to just do only the AFC East teams. We're going to try to just nail the AFC East. Okay, so we're all going for the Bills. Chargers versus Browns. LA is 4-3. The Browns are 2-6. Jordan Hicks for the Browns is out. Obviously, JOK is out too. He just went on injured reserve after that kind of nasty injury that he had last week. For the Chargers, Joey Bosa and Denzel Perryman are both questionable. can the Browns kind of feed off of that win last week against the Ravens and feed off of Jameis and kind of make a little bit of a run going here in Cleveland against the Chargers, dude? Man, I that's a winnable game for the Browns. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think they're going to do it?
I do.
I mean, this is going to be a tougher test for Jameis Winston. I mean, the Chargers' passing defense is significantly better than what he played against with the Ravens last week. It's interesting game, though, honestly. I mean, I think we kind of saw something with the Chargers, unlock something with their passing game, with Ladd McConkey emerging. So I think that could kind of come into play. The Chargers still have a great run game, and now if they unlock a little bit something with Ladd McConkey in the passing game, I think this could get interesting. I'm picking the Chargers.
Picking the Chargers, okay.
Yeah, I still think Jameis Winston will have a fine game. I just think it's not going to be as great as it was last week. I think he's going to come down just a tiny bit.
Okay, I thought we were all going to be on the Browns, so I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take the Browns just because coming off a win against the Ravens, in the fashion that they did, and their defense looked decent. Like I actually think Cleveland has a chance to finish this year above 500. I don't think they'll be terrible the rest of the year going forward. I mean, Jameis Winston's,
Nothing.
Schedule game? No, I definitely think that they have a chance to be a lot better going forward. I mean, especially with the emergence of some of these young wide receivers, and they got nothing to lose. So it's like, what happens? What happens if we do play, as aggressively as we want and we go 2-15? Okay.
Dude, unwavering faith, ultimate belief.
Dude, every day is a good day when God gives it to you.
Yeah.
I love Jameis so much. I'm with you. I'm taking the Browns too. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Jameis is almost certainly gonna throw like a couple of interceptions, but I think he's gonna do enough to win. I think the Browns have a new life here. I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs. In fact, I don't think that they will. But I do think they're going to make it interesting here in the AFC North. And I think that it starts last week, and I think it continues this week. So give me the Browns and a close win over the Chargers. So Dylan and I are picking Cleveland. Kai is on the Chargers. Next up, New England 2-6 at the Titans 1-6. Ugh, God, what a bad game. Will Levis and Tony Pollard are both game time decisions. L'Jarius Sneed is out. Tajay Spears is out. Drake May will play. Kyle Duggar is questionable. Who is the starting running back if both Pollard and Spears are out?
Let me check the depth chart.
It
is Julius Chestnut, right?
Did you say Joey Chestnut?
Yeah, I thought he was taking time out of his day from eating hot dogs to be the starting quarterback. I mean, running back for the Titans.
No, I don't think that's the case, unfortunately. Yeah, Julius Chestnut, I believe, would be the starting running back. Anybody? Is he going to pop up on anybody's saviors list? Julius Chestnut, Did he almost pop up on anybody's list here? I think Tony Pollard's going to play personally.
Yeah, I've been hearing more reports trending towards that he's going to play. So I didn't even think about Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut. I personally, like Dylan just said, the Patriots seem like a different team than they were even like a few weeks ago. I still don't think they're good, don't get me wrong, but I do think they're better than the fucking Titans. With that being said, I don't know, Mason Rudolph looked okay last week. So like,
did he?
Calvin Ridley had like 150 yards.
Not for 3 quarters.
No, he didn't, but still he had a lot of yards. Something that Will Levis couldn't have done. He got the ball to Calvin Ridley.
I can't believe that they're even considering playing Will Levis.
Dude, I know. Dude. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's like Mason Rudolph didn't play great, but at least he can throw it to his wide receiver one, which Will Levis can't even do. I mean, but either way, though, Titans have a great defense still. I know L'Jarius Sneed is out. That's going to hurt a little bit, but man, I don't know. They're at home. They're in one of those situations where it's like we don't have much else to play for.
Remember.
Are you picking the Titans?
Oh, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Go for it. No, don't let me interrupt you.
Yeah, I am picking the Titans, though. I kind of just think this is a game that they have to win.
Anticlimactic.
Now that you've picked the Titans, I'll have to remind you of what we talked about, is that teams that play the Lions lose the next week. Give me the Patriots.
Oh, nice.
No, that's true, but I'm still going to pick the Titans.
Oh man, right, great job, Dylan, being the only one of us that remembered that fact. That hurts, because I was like, I gotta remember that next week.
You gotta remember the
Patriots
Titans.
even without that. Yeah, who do the Lions play this week? Are they on a bye week, or are they playing?
No, they play. They play the Packers. Packers.
Yeah. So that means the Packers lose next week. Okay, keep that in mind. I'm picking the Patriots. Whether or not that happened, I would be more inclined to think that the Titans have a chance to win with Mason Rudolph, but I don't know if he's going to play. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick New England. Drake Mays looks solid in this few games that he's played. I think it'll be good enough to beat the Titans. The Titans suck, man. They're so bad. Yeah. So give me New England.
Give me New England. This could be an ugly game, and the Patriots have shown this year that they could win ugly games. I think that they have 2 wins, and neither of them have been super impressive. But I do think that if there's a team that they could really beat, it's probably the Titans, regardless of really anything, because they're so inept on offense.
Are you guys? How do you guys feel about Calvin Ridley this week?
I feel better about him if Rudolph's starting, but I would be trying not to play him. Yeah. No matter who's starting.
I think Tony Pollard's a good play this week too if he plays.
Oh yeah, without Spears, yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Okay, next up. Cowboys 3-4 at Falcons 5-3. Micah Parsons and Deron Bland are both out. Trayvon Diggs is dealing with a tear in his calf per Jerry Jones, and he is questionable for this week. Jerry Jones basically said, do not rule him out, basically, is what he said. But Jerry Jones is a crazy old man, so who knows if you should believe it. Not the most trusted source, I would say. So, take that for what it is. Zach Martin also questionable with a shoulder injury for Dallas. I guess the Falcons have a clean bill of health.
Yeah, they do.
It's in Atlanta. I think this is going to be a shootout, personally. I think this is one of the more interesting fantasy games of the week. Like, I think basically you can start any position player on either team, including Prescott, including Cousins. I think you could fire up basically anybody that's not a Cowboys running back.
I was about to say, yeah.
By the way, I have news of that. Zeke is going to be inactive. Okay. That was breaking news from about 10 minutes ago. Zeke is inactive. Dalvin Cook will play. I assume that means Rico Dowdle will be back in. I don't know that for certain though. So if you had Zeke in your lineup for some reason, take him out because he's not going to be playing. I expect CeeDee Lamb to build off his big game last week and have another big game. I think Mooney's a good play. I think London's a good play. Pitts, Ferguson, all good plays. I'm going to take the Falcons. I think this is a winnable game for the Cowboys. And I just said this the other night to you guys. I think the Cowboys are going to have a better second half of the year than they had a first half of the year. I don't think it's going to be enough to overtake Philly and Washington, but I do think they're going to make a little bit of a comeback. I don't think it starts this week, though. I think this is a winnable game for them, but I do think Atlanta wins at home. I think Kirk Cousins has a very good game. Give me the Falcons in a close shootout victory.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be close. Go ahead, Dylan. Sorry.
Oh, I got the Falcons winning as well. I think Micah Parsons being out, Deron Bland being out, Trayvon Diggs with a tear in his calf. A tear in your calf? Oh, dude, how are you going to cover Darnell Mooney or Drake London or Kyle Pitts?
He's probably not going to play.
He's probably not going to play, right? And it's an early game. It's at home for the Falcons. Kirk Cousins has looked really good this year, despite how he started, kind of a slow start. I don't think it'll be a shootout, right? But I don't think the Cowboys on offense have what it takes. If they can scheme CeeDee Lamb and slow him down a little bit, I don't see the offense for the Cowboys producing at a high level. Like, eventually you've got to figure out CeeDee Lamb is the only way they're scoring points. I think Falcons defense can do it.
I like Tolbert. like Ferguson. Like CeeDee Lamb's not the only guy on the offense. It's just that the fact that they don't have a running game, what's like probably the worst running game in the league, hurts them a bunch. Like if they if they had drafted Tyrone Tracy whenever he got drafted like in the 5th fucking round, didn't he? Why didn't they just try to draft like somebody like that? If they would have drafted like Tyrone Tracy in the 5th round, wouldn't have cost them a damn thing. The Cowboys might actually be like a lot better right now. I know their defense hasn't been that good either, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're that far off from like a wild card team, to me at least. I don't know.
I have a theory here, and I think this might happen. The Bears, they have granted Khalil Herbert permission to seek a trade. Okay, so teams with running back needs could be trying to trade for him. I could see the Cowboys being the landing spot for which Khalil Herbert goes. And I think he would immediately step in and be the best running back in that room, like the second he gets there.
I agree.
The thing is, though, that would be something a good organization would do because Khalil Herbert's pretty decent, and the Cowboys are a really dumb organization, so they're not going to do that.
Yeah,
I think they're going to stick with Dalvin Cook and Zeke all fucking year, and it's not going to work at all. Nope. I think.
I definitely think keep your eyes on that where Khalil Herbert might go because statistically through his career, he's been a high yards per carry and a touchdown machine of a running back. So I don't know why the Bears aren't using him more, but they're just not.
Yeah. I'm taking the Falcons here too. I mean, it's just when you look at these two defenses, you know, the Falcons defense can be beat, which is why I do think this game could be a shootout as well. But man, the Cowboys defense is so shredded. I think that like this could be a game where Atlanta is like scoring on most of their drives in some capacity, and I just don't think the Cowboys can score on at the same pace. Pretty much what Dylan was saying earlier. Yeah, I just think the Falcons are going to outpace the Cowboys, whatever they can do on offense.
Fair enough. Moving on. It's 2-6. At the Bengals 3-5. They don't deserve that, but I keep it going. T. Higgins is doubtful with a quad injury. That dude cannot stay on the field to save his life. Robert Spillane will be a game time decision, which would be a huge loss for the Raiders defense, by the way. I like probably, you know, the only bigger loss would probably be Max Crosby potentially than Robert Spillane. That's how important he is to that defense. I've been going back and forth on this, honestly, because this honestly feels like a trap. Like if a trap game could happen for a 3-5 team, you know, but I think that we all think the Bengals are better than 3-5. Maybe not like a Super Bowl contender necessarily, really, but like they're better than 3-5. This feels like a trap game, though. Like this feels like the Raiders could accidentally win this game and fuck the Bengals' chances of a playoff game down the road, and then also fuck the Raiders' chances of getting the number 1 overall pick down the road. It just feels like this is a game that might happen. I'm gonna pick the Bengals, but I don't feel great about it. I honestly do think the Raiders might accidentally win this game. Honestly, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
No, I mean you're right though. I mean it is kind of weird. I do feel like the Bengals find themselves in this situation a lot. They play a lot of trap games, and it's like in our heads, it's like Joe Burrow is easily the better quarterback. Easily has a better offense. I think their defense can hold back whatever the Raiders have on offense. So, yeah, the Bengals should win this game, but will they? I think so. Hopefully.
By the way, Zach Moss is doubtful in this game, too. That just came out a little while ago.
Yeah, man, I'm going to pick the Raiders to win this game.
Okay.
I feel like this is exactly what Brian was saying, is that they can accidentally win this game. The Raiders have been known to like win games that they shouldn't win.
Ravens.
You know, they beat the Ravens. They beat the Ravens earlier this year. I mean, they've only won 2 games. So, and those 2 wins have been Cleveland and the Ravens. Give me the Raiders to go 3-1 against the AFC North this year.
Okay. Well, what did you pick, Kai? The Bengals?
Yeah, I picked Bengals.
Okay. I have a feeling that
I know.
I don't know. Dylan always finds a way to pick the right one when we do the shit like this, and I'm already feeling a little nervous about that. I feel like the Raiders might win this one. Okay, next up, Broncos 5-3 at Ravens 5-3. So crazy that these two teams have the same fucking record, dude. 5-3. Marlon Humphrey is questionable in this game for Baltimore. I do think Bo Nix is going to have a nice fantasy game. I think the Ravens are going to honestly make a fool out of the Broncos defense. Like the Broncos, kind of similar to what happened in the Chargers game, where the Broncos defense just did not look like themselves. A lot of the success that Denver's had this year have come against really bad teams. So I do think that they have a good defense. Do not get me wrong. But I think it's going to be really fucking tested in this game. I think the Ravens are going to win by a lot. Not like a huge blowout, though. I do think it's going to be double digits, like 2 touchdowns. So give me Baltimore in Baltimore. I got the Ravens.
Mm-hmm. I need some more time to think about this one.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think the Ravens win. I think that they're at home. They're coming off a loss against the Browns. They're probably not super happy about that. And also, Derrick Henry's probably not super happy about how they used him last week, considering the week before that, he won them the game. And now he's probably looking at his offensive coordinator and the rest of his team and going, why did you even bring me here if you're going to give me 11 carries against the Browns?
That is a great point.
And I think the Broncos are a little bit of a paper tiger as well. Their last 4 wins have come against the Jets, the Raiders, the Saints, and the Panthers. I think they're a fake 5-3 team. That defense has been good. But they have not been playing quality teams really the last 2 weeks. So if they play any semblance of a good team the last 2 weeks, they're not 5-3. They're probably 3-5. So yeah, give me. It's going to be hard for them to keep this up, dude. They play hard games the next 3 weeks: Baltimore, Kansas City, Atlanta. I look for this to completely shift. I think the Raiders are about to go on. Not the Raiders. The Broncos are about to go on a slide here.
All right, Kai, time's up.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the Ravens as well. I just think it is the smarter pick. I actually do like Dylan. No. Dylan had a great reasoning, and I took that in, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I do agree with him, though. I mean, I do think that this is kind of where the Broncos start to slide a little bit.
Can you imagine if the Broncos win this game, they'll be 6-3, and the Ravens will be 5-4. How did that happen? That would be crazy. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
There's definitely a chance the Ravens could lose this game, but man.
I think obviously, yeah, but I don't know. I still think the Broncos are a couple of tiers below the Ravens. The Broncos are just kind of getting lucky with their schedule and their really good defense. So, Bears, Cardinals, top Bears, 4-3. Cardinals are 4-4. Jaquan Brisker still out. Montez Sweat is questionable. Kyler Gordon is questionable. Obviously, the Bears coming off that heartbreaker Hail Mary loss to Washington. I don't know how you feel about their chances here, Dylan. In Arizona.
It is. It's in Arizona. Jaquan Brisker being out is kind of scary to me. This would be like his 3rd straight game missed from the concussion. So I'm worrying about his health first and foremost. Hope you get better, dude. I think you might not be hitting people as hard the rest of the season. So
Bro got trembled.
He got trembled, dude. His knees were trembling. Montez Sweat will probably play. I hope Kyler Gordon plays. We really needed him last week. I don't think this is necessarily a safe game for the Bears, although I think they'll come in and have a little bit more of a want and need to stay disciplined and win. But I do have to say I'm not picking them this week, the Bears. Picking the Cardinals to win this game. It hurts my heart to say it, and I want the Bears to win. And if they do win, I'll take the L straight up. The Bears are 0-3 on away games this year. The Cardinals have been looking like they're winning close games, which I think this definitely will be a close game. Yeah, so give me the Cardinals to pull it out at home.
Completely.
Yeah, James Conner's gonna eat us alive, dude. I think it's not gonna look good.
Well, it's funny that you kind of just sidetracked me right there, because I was totally expecting you to pick the Bears, because I already had the Cardinals in my mind, and I was like, I don't want to sound like I'm copying you again. But I do think James Conner is gonna be the key focal point of this game. Yeah. If he has a great game, it's going to open up that pass game for the Cardinals. We already saw how the Bears are doing with Jaquan Brisker and maybe Kyler Gordon again if he doesn't play. Terry McLaurin and all the Washington receiving options ate him alive last week. So, yeah, with that being said, I do think the Cardinals are going to win.
I don't know, man. Tyreek Stevenson's going to be locked in.
Sure,
he ain't making a mistake this week.
Dude. They need to be locked in the locker room. You stay in the locker room while we play. You're done.
Watch it on the TV. I want to pick the Bears, but it makes me nervous that Dylan doesn't even have faith in them.
It's a toss-up, and I just got to say, like, this game seems like a game that the Bears would lose. It just really does. And if it's a close game and it comes down to a Hail Mary again, I'm probably going to turn my TV off.
Oh, can I interest you guys in a stat line too?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I still need a time to think here.
So Kyler Murray is 2-0 since Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out. Do with that what you will.
Oh man.
That means he doesn't like this year's Call of Duty, dude. It means he's not really into it and he's wanting to play football again.
It's like, this shit sucks. Where's my playbook? Give me the Bears, dude. I'm going with the Bears. Bears.
I respect it.
I don't feel good about it, but I think it's gonna be a close game. They're like embarrassed right now. They're gonna want to like bounce back. The Cardinals defense sucks. I don't know. Give me the Bears, dude. I feel like Caleb Williams can move the ball against Arizona.
Embarrassed.
Another wrinkle to this game. Embarrassed, yeah. Another wrinkle to this game is that the Bears' offensive line is decimated. We are down to our, I believe, third string left tackle. Our offensive line, like Ryan Bates might come back, but we're very thin on the offensive line, and I think that'll be a huge reason why we'll lose. We got eaten up against the Commanders, dude. That game was 100% won by the Washington front seven, just harassing Caleb Williams the entire day.
Now I'm rethinking my pick, but too late. It's already set in stone. Jags 2-6 at Eagles 5-2.
Oh, buddy.
Travis Etienne, Gabe Davis, and Brian Thomas Jr. are all game time decisions, and Dallas Goedert and Darius Slay are both out for the Eagles. Kind of already talked about it earlier, especially first off, let's just play are these guys going to play game? Yeah. Etienne, I think he does play. I think Etienne plays. What do you guys think?
I think he does, but man, it's not going to be a good matchup for Etienne.
I think Gabe Davis plays.
Could have a touchdown or 3. Who knows?
I do not, or he could have 0 catches and 0 targets. A wide range of possibilities with Gabe Davis, always, no matter what team he's on. I don't think Brian Thomas is going to play.
I don't think so either, and I kind of think that's the one that needs to be here, especially like I don't think Gabe Davis is going to be WR1 all by himself, especially with how the Philly defense has been looking. No. Yeah, dude, so
give me Parker Washington. By the way,
he's been popular. He's been popular this week. Yeah,
I think whether Gabe Davis plays or not, I think he's going to be the leading receiver for the team. I'm not saying start him, but I think that if Brian Thomas doesn't play, and even whether Gabe Davis plays or not, I kind of like Parker Washington to lead them in receiving yards this week. Either him or Evan Ingram. Obviously, Ingram is still a possibility as well. Obviously, but.
Also, a little wrinkle to Parker Washington. He's the punt returner, right? He had the special teams touchdown recently.
I believe so.
Yeah, so I mean, there's an added bonus to a guy like that.
Yeah, I would say I'd be nervous starting any Jaguar this week. This feels like a Philly blowout victory. It's in Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, the
Eagles are healthy. Give me the Eagles, dude.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those like big correction games for the Eagles. We might actually score in the first quarter finally for once this season, so that'll be nice. The Vic Fangio defense has been balling out lately. You know, they balled out last week against the Bengals, only 7 points in the second half, the entire game. And yeah, I just think like Jaguars are just completely outmatched. I don't think they have what it takes to even come back and win this game or even outpace the Eagles. Yeah, just give me the Eagles to stomp them.
I honestly think if you're the Jags, you should decide that Travis Etienne, Gabe Davis, and Brian Thomas Jr. don't play this week.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
you
probably.
Need to sell this game. You need to sell this game. You need to protect your players. You're already down Christian Kirk. You know, you're going to put 2 injured receivers out there? Why do you have a practice squad? Why do you have 5th and 6th receivers if they never see the field? The Jags don't have an opportunity to make the playoffs. The Jags aren't going to do anything in this game anyways. Why not see what the young guys have to offer? It's a bad matchup anyways. You're playing in Philly. You haven't had a bye week yet. You have a late bye week. You just came off of a month in England. Like, your guys are probably exhausted and tired. So just, give me the Eagles to just stomp their guts out, dude.
Hold on a second. I'm just kidding.
It's going to be a gut stomp out, dude.
Doug Peterson revenge game.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just fucking kidding.
Against himself.
Next
this
up.
Would probably, if Kai's safest game of the week was still around, I would say this is a good one right here.
I miss Kai's safest game of the week, dude. We should bring that back next year.
No, he hated not being right about that.
Yeah, I fell victim to the early season upsets with that one.
Rams 3-4 at Seahawks 4-4. So Puka left practice on Thursday with a knee injury. It's the same knee that he had to miss games for earlier in the season. Immediately, reports came out that it wasn't serious. I still assume that he would miss this week, but now Diana Rossini says that she expects him to play. So that makes me think that she's gotten intel from the Rams that he's probably going to be fine. Are you starting him this week if he plays?
The re-aggravation risk might be too high, though, to consider. But if you're desperate, he might be worth a play.
I think he's worth a play even if you're not desperate. I think putting him out there, if the Rams think he can play, he'll probably play. And I'll take Puka at 75% over some of these other guys you might be considering. Of course, the re-aggravation is possible. And he could miss, he could get pulled mid-game, something like that. I think at this point in your fantasy season, though, you're kind of looking for upside, and you want guys that can score high. And if you're rostering him and you need those points, I would consider playing Puka here.
If you have a similar option, though, like someone who's like similarly projected or, similar upside, and you have him as another option, I'd maybe consider that other option.
Devontae Smith versus the Jags or Puka Nacua versus the
Devontae.
Rams?
I picked Devontae as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf is out with the MCL sprain. Noah Fant is out as well. So how are we feeling about this? It's in Seattle. This division is a fucking logjam, by the way. The Cardinals, Seahawks, and 49ers are all tied for first place at 4-4, and the Rams are 3-4. So they are all tied in the loss column. This is a big game, legitimately, because this could space out the division a little bit. It's in Seattle. The Seahawks have not been looking good at all, really, overall lately. No. I'm going to take the Rams, whether Puka plays or not. I don't know. I think they're probably pretty evenly matched. I just feel like the Rams are playing just like a little bit better. Geno looked bad last week without DK Metcalf. And that makes me a little nervous. I think they need to ride Kenneth Walker. Like, just pound the rock with him, and even Charbonnet, too. Like, get the running game going, establish the run. But give me the Rams. I think the Rams come into Seattle and leave with a win.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too. I just think as of right now, they're the more complete team. I think they're playing more inspiring football, especially with all their weapons back. Whereas the Seahawks, they're not playing inspiring football. And I know this is still a divisional game, so that means, it's not a safe game by any regards. But I just like the way that the Rams' momentum is looking right now. And I think I can trust them to get a win when they need to.
Give me the Rams as well. I mean, Geno's one of my stinkers. I think he'll have a pretty bad game. I think that Rams, the energy and the vibes between these two teams is starkly different. Like, the Rams are high. The Rams are high energy. They're pounding the ball. They got Kyron Williams. They got Puka Nacua. They got Cooper Kupp. They got that offense is really moving. They just beat the Vikings. And I think they probably look at the Seahawks as like, This is a game we have to win. And in a must-win game, give me Sean McVay, give me Matthew Stafford, and give me that Rams offense.
Not to mention, too, the Rams defense, some of the young guys are producing as of late.
They are. They definitely are.
Okay, next up. Lions 6-1 at Packers 6-2. Probably the biggest game of the week. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Love is tracking to play. Shire Alexander's questionable. Josh Jacobs will be a game time decision. He's been limited in practice the last couple of days. I'm going to be honest with you. The Jordan Love injury scares me, even if he plays. He did not look good last week. And by not just walking, he was limping constantly. He just looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Do I think he could still put up decent? Obviously, if he plays even kind of injured, I think the Packers will still score points, and this will be an interesting game. But I don't know. I think I would, if I were Green Bay, I think I would put Malik Willis out there for this game, even though it's super important. I don't know that the Jordan Love getting injured. I think he got injured twice last week, so I don't know if it was the same injury, just kind of re-aggravating throughout the game, or if it was two different ones. But this makes me a little nervous. It is in Green Bay, but I think the Love injury with the Jacobs not being fully there too, I'm going to take the Lions.
Yeah, I'm actually starting Matt Stafford over Jordan Love in fantasy this week, whether he plays or not. Yeah, just the injury worries me for sure. I think whether Love plays or not, I think this is just one of those games where I think the Lions are overall the most complete team in the NFL. If Josh Jacobs especially doesn't play, I'm definitely taking the Lions.
Yeah, man, the Lions look really good this year. Straight up just really good. And just the last 4 weeks, their whole team is playing. They are the most complete team in the NFL. Special teams, defense, offense,
coaching.
And coaching, dude, and Jared Goff is not having to do a lot to win these games at all, which I think is the perfect recipe for the Lions to go in and just play fundamentally and beat the Packers at home. And they have shown that they can do that. It has definitely been shown that the Lions can go into Green Bay and win. And I think they will again this week.
So you both have the Lions?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we're all on Detroit.
Oh, the Packers are going to win, dude.
If Jordan Love were fully healthy, would you guys still pick the Lions? I think I would pick the Packers.
It'd make the game a little bit closer, but I just like the Lions so much more overall.
Yeah, I think I'm picking the Lions regardless.
Yeah, they're just rolling right now. The momentum's so high.
Next up, Sunday Night Football, Colts at Vikings. The Colts are 4-4. The Vikings are 5-2. TJ Hawkinson is going to make his season debut, one of Dylan's saviors. Joe Flacco, obviously, getting the start after Anthony Richardson got benched this week. Honestly, this is a much more exciting game with Joe Flacco in it. In Minnesota, I do think the Colts are a much better team with Flacco at the helm, but I still think the Vikings are actually legitimately really good football team, and I don't think that can be said for the Colts. I'm going to pick the Vikings, but I do think that there are some Colts that you can play in fantasy. I think Josh Downs is an amazing play rest of season if Flacco's in.
I think even Pittman has some value again too.
I do too. I think Pittman for sure as well, but I think Josh Downs is going to be a wide receiver one the rest of the way.
He's definitely got the higher touchdown upside and big play upside.
It feels like him and Flacco just have a really good chemistry together. So I think if you have Josh Downs, you're feeling fucking really good about that. That's a potential league winner right there.
Yeah, because we know Joe Flacco likes throwing to downfield wide receivers.
Josh Flacco. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but for me, I'm picking the Vikings as well. I kind of just think they're the more complete team as well. Offense, defense, and coaching. Especially on the defensive side. I think the Colts can score against the Vikings, but I think the Colts will not be able to stop the Vikings offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Vikings. I just think they already have a good enough offense to just get an extra piece. to make you have to defend the entire field is just going to be too much for that Colts defense. That's not terrible, but their defense hasn't necessarily been the reason that they're winning all these games. They've only won 4, and Flacco is good, but I don't see them having the offensive firepower necessarily to dominate this game. And I think the Vikings have shown that they're really good. They're on a 2-game losing streak, but that's against the Lions and the Rams. 2 good teams, I think, 2 really good teams. And I don't think the Colts are really good. I think they're a middle-of-the-road team.
Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, Monday Night Football, Bucs at Chiefs. Tampa 4-4. Kansas City is 7-0. Juju Smith-Schuster is out with a hamstring injury. Bucky Irving was present for Saturday's practice after missing Thursday and Friday. He remains questionable. And Antoine Winfield Jr. has the foot injury, but he is good to go according to Todd Bowles. This is a rematch of a Super Bowl a few years ago with Tom Brady and versus Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the Bucs look a lot different than they did back then. I feel like Tampa's a better team than 4-4. Obviously, they're dealing with some injuries right now. This is a tough one. Like, are the Bucs really gonna have a losing record after this week? They're not a losing team. 4-5.
No, they're not. But it's just the way that destiny has proclaimed it. So
destiny.
I was looking at this matchup and I was trying to look for any kind of argument to see a Chiefs loss come out of this, and I just can't find one. The Bucs are just so injured. The offense remains to be a question mark, at least in the passing game. And even their running game is just so ineffective, especially in this matchup against the Chiefs' stout defense. As I alluded to earlier, I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to up his best game of the season last week. I know it's not really the highest bar, so I do think the Chiefs are going to win this game, and they're going to still be undefeated, and it really stinks, and it makes me sad. But
what you got, Dylan?
The Buccaneers have one of the worst defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Bar none. Like, they're bottom 5 in everything. They're bottom 5 in passing, rushing. They're decent in red zone. Like, they're just not a very good defense. And I feel like you can't walk out there with a bad defense and expect to beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. Like, you can't expect to do that. And also, the Buccaneers offense is missing a lot of pieces. So the Bucs are looking weak on both sides of the ball, and the Chiefs are not looking weak on the defensive side of the ball. So give me the Chiefs defense to win them this game. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to have to do very much to win it, just like he hasn't had to do very much all season to win games. And prime time, Patrick Mahomes, ref show. It's going to be a ref show. Give me the Chiefs.
I think they're going to just pound the rock with Kareem Hunt. And I agree. I think the Chiefs defense is going to be very stout. I'm with you. I'm rooting for Tampa Bay. I hope that they can find a way to beat the Chiefs. I don't see it. I don't see a way that they can win. I think the Chiefs will remain undefeated, unfortunately. It's in Arrowhead, too, where it's like, maybe you can come up with something if it's in Tampa, but probably not. But Arrowhead, forget about it. I think we're all in Kansas City this week.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Do you think the 70s Dolphins dudes are kind of shitting their pants right now?
No, I don't think the Chiefs are good enough to go undefeated for the entire season.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just, this just isn't the best Chiefs team that we've seen. So I think that they're I don't know. A lot of these games are just like if Tampa was fully healthy, I feel like maybe we would be talking about maybe they could pull off an upset here. I don't think the Chiefs are so good that they're going to go 17-0.
Oh, if the Chiefs were, if the Bucs were healthy, like 90% healthy, I would actually probably make an argument for the Bucs here. But yeah,
like if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were both still available.
Yep.
One last thing before we go to, we could. No, we'll save it. One last thing before we go. Zeke apparently inactive for disciplinary reasons. So whatever that means. Okay. That's it for us. As always, you can find us at Raging Takes everywhere on social media, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can email us ragingtakes@gmail.com. I'm at Montana Sauce on Twitter. Kai is at RTP Kai, and Dylan is at Such a Wise Fool. We'll see you on Tuesday for the Week 9 review.
And good luck.
Good luck, everybody.